My general research interests are in risk assessment specifically. So my background is in forensic psychology. And I'm very interested in looking at how risk assessment and risk need responsivity effectuate change in the way that we handle individuals in the justice system, especially juvenile justice. But I've also done some of that work with adults as well. So I'm very interested in looking in the implementation of these tools and processes and seeing whether we can improve that to get better outcomes. So some of the key findings of this line of research that we're particularly excited about is the significant shift we see in the sentencing of young people, otherwise known as dispositions in the juvenile justice system. So we see when a risk assessment and risk need responsivity based policies are put into place and everyone's bought into that process, that youth are getting less severe sentences. So more youth are being handled informally or they're being diverted altogether. And significantly fewer youth are being sent to a detention facility or other form of secure placement at sentencing. The implications of our research for policy and practice are widespread. I think all of the studies that I've done in the last 10 years are specifically about changing policy and practice. Our research has shown what kind of policies work well within probation departments and jurisdictions around implementation of risk assessment. So when should that risk assessment tool be done? How should it be used in case planning? How should that information be shared with judges and so on? Some of this work has led to legislative changes in some states, which has been prompted largely by the Council of State Governments based on some of the work that we've done. What I hope the practitioners and the public will take away from this discussion is that adoption and good implementation of risk assessment in justice settings, if these things are done well and thoughtfully, it leads to much better outcomes for the individuals that are touching the system. I think on balance, the meta-analyses and the research indicates that when risk assessment is being used, it's leading to better decisions. So how we can start more collaborations and research initiatives to address this issue, I think where that the funding, some areas where the funding might want to target is really a lot more implementation related research. We can do a lot of random control trials, but we found through just one random control trial that you can never find two probation offices that operate similarly. I don't care how you randomize them. It makes the outcomes very difficult to compare, and it makes things very difficult to generalize. So in general, I just love to see more research that's got it grounding in implementation science. But I also think in order to sustain good practice in these reform efforts, we should put some more time into developing and researching models for coaching, supervision, and feedback. That's an area that I think has been really understudied in the justice system. We could not have possibly done the research that we have conducted without NIJ's support. The type of work that we've been doing over the last 10 years has involved working with probation offices and jurisdictions for a year to just help them implement risk assessment and risk need responsivity types of policies. There's no way we could have done that work without the funding and support of NIJ, and just having the name of NIJ behind us, that sort of influences jurisdictions being willing to work with us. And then there's great advisors and program officers at NIJ who help us problem solve and think about how the research should be conducted moving forward.